How do I fit it all in, or how do you fit it all in, or how do we fit it all in? I don't know.
I think they're all great questions, and I think there's some sensible answers to all of them, but in the middle of it, I'm not feeling very sensible.
Well, right next to your face right now, I have my to-do list. It's right here, one of many. So I know what it's like. I'm constantly adding and sliding things in and, trying to fit in whatever new thing is on the list, and the list doesn't get shorter.
No, I find that my list just keeps moving. So I have an intention to go, okay, this is my week ahead. And yes, I plan a week ahead. Um, and then I find that it's now Friday for me, and I've had to move a couple of things over to Saturday on that calendar, which is not good because that's Saturday, it's not working week. And it's had to move. And it's this constant movement of things because other things got added in, like you said. And I know we chatted the other day and it was just like, I don't know how I'm fitting everything in. And that's where we got this topic from, is literally that.
Are you fitting it all in?
Well, that's a good question. I think what happens is that I do, and yet it also takes other things away. So if I fit it all in, which I'm doing, I get less time with my husband. If I fit it all in, so I've got two examples of where this has happened. So um, I have shared before that my daughter is getting married this year, and we've sorted her dress out, but there was another very important dress to sort out, and that was mine. And we have been diligently going shopping and literally doing the 10,000 steps through shopping malls to get the dress.
Hmm.
Hadn't found the dress for me. And um, we we spent hours on Sunday, and we went to the city and we checked everything, and there was nothing that was appropriate. And my daughter happens to have Tuesdays off. So I'd had a friend drop in on Tuesday at about, I don't know, mid-morning, and then I was just not in the mood to do any work. And so I rang Angel and went, "Do you want to go shopping now?" So we played hooky in the middle of a Tuesday, and
That's a way to fit it in, isn't it?
we went shopping and we found the dress. Less of the point of the story. Yes, we found the dress. Yes, we took time out during the day, but what that took away then was my focus on work.
Hmm.
And so now I've had to move it to somewhere else because I chose to do that on the Tuesday. And like yesterday, I had a presentation that was an hour drive away from me, and I thought I would be home by about 3:30. I'd booked in a call at 4 o'clock. Well, I was still on the road at 4 o'clock. So I had to contact that person and have the call in the car rather than keeping them waiting or anything, which is not ideal because it's much better if I am sitting calm, particularly in this room, not having to deal with highway traffic and I don't know, idiots on the road, um, and being distracted by that. And so here I am again, fitting it in. There's sacrifice in that. I'm giving up other things to fit everything in. So am I really fitting it in?
Mhm.
And sure, I might squeeze it in, but is it as effective? Am I giving my 100% to that thing? I don't know. It's it's a bad habit of mine.
Let me share where I'm coming from because I have a feeling we might be going in a similar direction, even though we have not talked about where this was going, other than more or less the title. So, as I was just thinking about this to try to get ready for tonight, I started thinking about it because I have a list, and the list is always there, and it's always being added to. And even when I take something off the list, the next thing that I dive into, that thing becomes 10 things. Because once you break, like you have the overall thing that you need to do, but once you get into it, you didn't know that you had the other things that would come from it, the unanswered questions, the next task or whatever. So I was thinking about my lists, and I had this realization that I'm never going to be done the list. The
That's
list is
very
always
scary.
No, the list is always going to be there. There's always going to be something on the list. Something's going to break down. There's a project that needs to be done. There's requests that are made. There are projects that come up. There are whatever. Like there's always something. So with my realization that the list is never going to be done, what do I want to fit into the list? What are the, because I like you, at least how the way you just described the story, is that like work can get in the way of, the personal stuff. And I know I'm very guilty of saying, no, not now. I got things to do. No, not now. I've got to go get some work done. And I understand there are periods of time where that will be the case, but that can't be the case all of the time.
Yeah, it can't be the consistent go-to answer, right? You have to be able to
But
put pause on the work thing.
I've lived there a long time. This whole, work comes first. So maybe I need to look at my list a little differently. Maybe my to-do list, I have the fun in there too. I put in the family, I put in the fun, I put in the enjoyment, the activities, the other things. Because if I concede the fact that the list is never done, as long as I have my other things in there that are of value, not just to the work life, but to the everything else life, maybe I maybe I'm a little more balanced in the list because the list has a little less work bias and it has just like a life balance to it.
Yeah. And yes, so I mean that's kind of what I did on Tuesday, but then it felt like I'd taken away from the work focus. However, when I was with my daughter and we were doing the shopping, I was very much in the moment. It could have been any day of the week, it didn't matter. We were just doing the thing that we were doing. And that was great. And it actually, so one of the realizations I had on the Tuesday thing when I inserted that in the middle of the day is when I got home, I was actually able to get back into work.
Hmm.
Now, that's not usual for me. If I've played hooky in the middle of the day, I mean, I'm like, do I want to do any more work? It's already 2:30. Hubby will be home in, 2 hours. Do I really want to? But I did. And I felt like, particularly for Tuesday, it was because we'd succeeded in getting the dress.
Hmm.
So I'd felt a completion in that. And that way I could go, okay, that is now off the list. And I can now go on to that next thing rather than shoving things in. So for me, it's a bit of if I've completed it, it feels so much easier to move on to the next thing.
I wonder if that one in particular, because that one's been dragging, because we talked about the dress a couple of conversations ago, because you bought one. It's just not the one. So this has been something that's been on your mind for a while.
It has. You are correct. It has been an ongoing conversation. Um, and yes, to get that completion. And um, And so I agree that the list doesn't ever end, but the items on the list can end. So, the list that I had this time last year is not the same list that I have right now.
Mhm.
There's just still a list. It just has different items on it. And so I personally like that feel of completion. Once I get the completion, I can take it off the list and not feel so um, it's almost like there's noise in my head, like the noise in my head around it settles down. While I've got 20 things on the list, if one of them is completed, that noise around that particular item just goes.
Mhm.
Um, I think it's an ongoing thing though, not to fill the space. Just because there's a gap, I don't have to fill it. I could wait to see what fills the gap.
Or do you want to
I,
fill it with something else?
Yeah, I do. So here's another example. This is messing around with my head right now. In 2.5 weeks' time, I am heading to Singapore. That's amazing. I'm going for a conference. I'm speaking at that conference. That's just exciting as I've lined it up so that I can get there 2 days prior. So I'll arrive in the afternoon, evening. I've got a full day the next day, the next 2 days, and then I've got my first event on the Thursday evening. Okay, 2 days. What do I want to do? Who can I catch up with? Who can I contact? What can I fill my 2 days with? I'm filling it up already. What if I just had 2 days where I got to explore Singapore? I
Oh,
mean,
so a part of me is thinking that those are some of the things you're filling it up with.
no, I was filling it up with who do I know in Singapore that I can catch up with? Oh, I wonder when the other presenters are getting there. I could see when they were there and make sure I hang with them. Like organizing that. Maybe I just leave 2 days open and discover something that I haven't planned for. It feels a bit scary to do that because I do like a plan, as you well know. But it is interesting that I want to fill those 2 days with activity.
What would it be like if you did like 50-50? Scratch that itch of I need to fill my time
Have a something?
and
Mm,
leave something open.
yeah. I might, considering we were having this conversation today, I guess that it might change my approach a little bit to Singapore. Um, yeah, that's the right, but we have to be deliberate in that. Otherwise, I would default. If I didn't have this opportunity to talk about this with you now, I would automatically default to what my comfort is.
Well, I would probably ask you up front though, why did you add the 2 days up front?
Well, it wasn't quite going to be 2 days up front, except that it was a cheaper airfare by
Mhm.
doing the thing. So I was like, yeah, that works. And I don't mind being, flights, they're reliable-ish. Um, and I'm presenting. I want to make sure I'm there. I just want to be in the country.
The buffer. Okay, good. And I'm assuming your planes land right side up. They don't land upside down like they do in Toronto. That's the thing, right?
Oh, if,
Oh, you didn't.
preferably,
Oh, you
preferably.
didn't hear about this one. I'll tell you later.
Okay. No, I did not see that on the news over here. That could either be that it wasn't on the news over here or I just didn't watch the news because I've been busy doing all the activity.
Oh.
Um, but yes, having a bit of a 50-50 of that might will how about I put it to the test?
And but maybe that's not the right maybe that's not the right split, but I'm just thinking what would it be like to leave some of it open and plan
Mm.
some stuff, but leave the rest of it up to
With some flexibility, some by chance, some spontaneity. Oh, scary stuff. Yeah, but I mean, Singapore seems to be it's not a it's kind of a one-off experience. It's a one-off example. But when I turn this into more of a day-to-day thing, I do this all the time during the day. I have meetings booked in even today, so I had to set every morning. I look ahead at my day and I set alarms so that I can make sure I can show up at the meetings that I need to be at. There were four alarms set. Actually, no, that's not true. There were five alarms set for
five alarm
today.
fire. Okay.
And that's you know, that doesn't leave a lot of wiggle room. So yeah,
No room
no,
for snoozing, huh?
no, no. And I know you're saying that jokingly-ish, but really. if we keep jamming things in, it will take away from our rest time, our sleep time, our connection with others time. And that's the stuff that's really vital on a human level. We need those things to be able to recharge. And if we're busy doing all the activity and not recharging, I could compare it to my vehicle, albeit it's an EV, but it's still charging, right? It's like I can drive it and drive it and drive it and drive it, and it'll eventually run out of charge. So today it was down just under 50%. I'm plugging that thing in so it can charge. When do I recognize that I'm down to maybe 50% and I might need a recharge?
When is that?
Yeah, exactly. Good question.
So you don't know.
I think we get distracted. So this is where um, I see myself in this as well, but I see it in others. We get distracted with the obligation. We get distracted with this is important. Oh, someone else has asked me to do this. And and we want to show up. So we get distracted by that and we forget about what recharges us.
Mhm.
I mean, when was the last time you asked that question? What recharges you?
I just asked you. Or do you mean me? When is the last time I asked
Yeah,
myself that?
yeah. I mean, like you said, inserting the fun, the family, the thing into the to-do list is a way to do it.
And to do, I'm leaving. I want to leave that as loose because I don't necessarily want it to be a task per se. However, if it's in my conscious set of
Choice.
priorities that day,
Yeah.
I can choose that. And actually, I had that in my mind when I was picking up my son because I'm like, he's gonna ask me if I can if I can play basketball with him when we get home. He's gonna ask. He's gonna ask. And it's like one of the nicest days we've had in a while. Like it's still snowing here. It's ridiculous. I don't know what's going on. But he's gonna ask. So what am I gonna say? Am I gonna say no, I've got to go do some work, or no, I can spend the next half an hour. We can play for half an hour, whatever. So I offered that to him after he asked, and then he changed his mind. But because of melting snow and stuff. But whatever, it's fine. But at least I knew I wasn't going to default to the work stuff, which I still have to do, but that list is still going to be there. What's the one thing I'll be able to tick off in that 15, 20 minutes that I was going to say no to go do something before I do the next thing? So where's my time best spent right now?
And the other, yeah, so that's that conscious, deliberate choice, right? That we make and we can be available. Whether it pans out or not doesn't matter. It's the being available. I The other thing that I experienced literally today that I went, oh, this is how you fit it all in as well, is I moved my emotions out of the way. So I want to explain that one. Uh, yes, I did a presentation yesterday, and on the weekend, I was a program judge for a Lions Youth of the Year competition. It's a public speaking competition to encourage 17, 18-year-olds, and they kind of have levels that they have to, and they and I was a judge for it. There was seven of us judging them. It was very intimidating for 17-year-olds, but anyway, it was fun. Um, so really good community encouragement and from all around the state and just lovely, lovely experience. And I wanted to share that on my social media because I haven't found time, ironically, to do things like that. And I went, oh, now I have to write an article. Bloody hell. How do I write that? Oh, I have to take photos. What photos can I use? Oh, it started, right? And I went, you know what? Just write what you experience. Just write it. And I did. So in the 15 minutes that I had before I wanted to come and be available for you and this call, I got that post up on LinkedIn and Facebook. Tagged people, put photos up. got it done. It's now not hanging over me because doesn't, because I removed all the heaviness of having to do it. And I just got in and did it. So I was able to fit in. I
I
was
think
able to fit
I
it
think that
in.
comes up a lot. The noise in the head around getting the thing done, the one thing done. I had something similar happen this week because I have a bathroom renovation so it's my turn with renovations. It's coming, right? I have to build this thing. But it's intimidating because there's a lot of steps that are involved. And one of the steps uh, was is giving some electrical requirements to a family friend so that he can help at least inform me what I need to do or who I need to get or give me some more of the answers that I don't have at the moment to some of my questions.
Hmm.
However, that one thing requires me to do several pieces of research. So it kind of sends me into a spiral to get it. I'm like, I gotta do that now. Ah, grr, grr, ah. So I spend more time probably being aggravated by what has to be done as opposed to, okay, just dive in and do the best you can with it and send that off and see if that's enough. Like
Yeah.
maybe I don't need to have as many pieces of the puzzle figured out before taking that step. And I think in my mind, I needed to have 10 things figured out instead of the two or three that he was asking for. Um, I mean, ultimately, we're going to get there. I don't need to have all of it sorted out today.
Yes. And even if you had one of the things sorted and I'm sure they would come back to you and say, oh, and that's great. And we also need this thing.
Entirely possible. So I freaked out about that last week. I sent it on Sunday, I think. I haven't heard back. So was my frustration and speed to get stuff done, was that misplaced? Probably, because
Yep.
it's not my schedule. I
Yep.
can only control my version of what needs to happen when it needs to happen and what's going on in my head. So sometimes just diving in and trying something
Just doing it.
is
Just
enough.
doing it. We get so caught up, and particularly for me with a LinkedIn post, I'm always like, oh, that person looks so much more fabulous on their LinkedIn thing than I ever do. It's like, oh my God, get over it. Put it up there. I'm not sharing that because I need to look good. I'm actually sharing because I think it's really important to support community. And it was really lovely reflection yesterday to be part of a group for 10 years and have people show up to this group for my presentation because they went, oh, Chris is speaking. I'm coming to watch. I even had somebody who works at the venue that we were at that on her break came and sat in my chair while I was presenting because she wanted to catch as much as she could.
Hmm.
Like, like to be to experience that and to receive that kind of connection with humans was what I wanted to share. So that's why I think it made it so easy to do it because I could move aside this paranoia almost about, oh, well, I don't know if it's going to look any good. And it's photo of certificates. It's not a photo of me. But it's like, oh, it's not really about me. I want to share what these things are. And on the certificates, it's got other people's names on it because it's got who, from the Lions inner North group, whatever. It's
Lions
like
Club.
it's about them, not really about me. It was just my feeling at that how they made me feel. And that's how it made it easier to write it because I let go of all the what everyone else might think.
Noise.
The noise, coming back to the noise. Mm. Yes. So how do we fit it all in? I think we just take it. I did initially when we were talking about it the other day, I was like, one bite at a time, one bite at a time. And um and knowing when to say no
Hmm.
and choose something different, like going shopping in the middle of a Tuesday.
Didn't know it all came down to hooky. I wish I knew.
I'm sure that is the answer. That is the yep, that is the solution to it all.
So I think you've mentioned this many times that planning with flexibility or leaving some place
Yes,
for
structure with
future. That's
flexibility. Yes.
that's the one.
Yes. Yeah. I think I've just shortchanged myself a little bit on the flexibility recently.
Mhm.
Yeah. So need to add a bit more of that in.
Time to open things up.
Awesome. Yep. Awesome. There we
Thanks for
go.